Alright, hey everybody, welcome to a new video. Today, whether you live in Istria or you're coming to visit Istria for the summer, the winter, wherever, I'm going to show you what you'll need to be fishing in Istria. Whether you are going to the west coast of Istria or the east coast of Istria, there is some major differences, but I'm going to go over that too. The west coast mainly is shallower water, not that many drop-offs, while on the east coast, it does get deep very, very quickly. And this goes all the way to Rijeka, Cres, etc. if you're going to be fishing there as well. We're going to start with some of the basics. Rods, I'll show you what I use. I personally really like to use this rod. This is actually a small little feeder rod. It's really sensitive, really long, which makes it really good for squid fishing. Now, the reel I pair with this is a Daiwa Ninja LT2000. I swear by this reel with my life. It's a really good reel. If you get the chance to pick this up, I think it's about $50 or $60 or on a slightly longer stick. This is a Daiwa Laguna LT2000, so also 2000 reel. This is the cheaper version of the Ninja, realistically. I use this a bunch too. It's a really great reel, just for like squid fishing. The Ninja reel has a lot more drag settings. So when you change this drag, or when you change this drag is way more sensitive, so you can really choose that drag level when you're squid fishing. That to say, I squid fish with this reel a bunch as well. It works out great. So reel-wise, you'll be good with a 2000 for any of the smaller fish, etc. But even catching, bransin, which is a sea bass, stuff like that, orada, on weights, etc. All that works. These rods are both from like 7-8 grams to like 21-25 grams. So these are smaller rods, smaller weights, etc. For anything bigger, I do tend to use this one. This is a Abu Garcia Max 60p3. I'm not sure. I think this is a 4000 reel. The stick that goes with it is actually a travel rod. Conveniently goes into 5 pieces. This can go off as well. This is a really long rod, and this is what I use for either bigger weights or any further casting. This is a 20 to 50 gram rod. I do recommend if you're on the east side of Istria, or if you're fishing around Kirk or anything like that, you can go even bigger. You can go up to an 80, 90, 100 gram, etc. I wouldn't go much like above 120, 140. I think that's a bit of overkill. But anything from like, let's say 30 to 100 is probably the sweet spot. You want to be throwing stuff that's like anywhere from 40 to 80 grams, I'd say. I have plenty more rods downstairs, but these are the main 3 ones I use. I recommend bring 1 or 2 rods if you're coming to visit. Try to get some travel rods. These rods on my right over here, these are about 2-piece rods. This is a 5-speed rod. I have some more small 5-piece rods downstairs as well. On top of that, one thing you definitely want is a net. This is a really cheap net. I think I bought this for like €5. It's a bit broken, but it stretches out. It's really nice to be able to, mainly land squid, cuttlefish, stuff like that. For any other fish, you can just drag them onto the shore, onto the pier, stuff like that. For a squid, if you want to go squid fishing, a net is essential. You are going to lose half of your squid if you don't have a net. Crabs as well, they come off, etc. You will catch a crab every now and then. So a net, definitely essential. Now, that's it for rods. Let's go over some basic tackle as well. All right, for basic tackle, let's start with the real basics. So you do want to definitely bring a pair of tweezers, bring some scissors. Alongside with that, I always have a bunch of snap swivels with me. These are great. Any size work. Leader line, this is big leader line, which I use for the big rod. And then I have smaller leader line, which I use for the smaller rods. I also have a really big spool of mono with me at all times, because it is always handy to just have some extra line with you. On top of that, assortment of weights. I have a bunch of small weights here, some larger Sputnik weights, stuff like that, some normal teardrop weights, etc. More Sputnik weights. Weights are always good to have if you want to go bait fishing, anything where you're not lure fishing, the weights are essential. If you are lure fishing, of course, bring a bunch of different jig heads, stuff like that. I have a bunch. I usually bring like one of these boxes with a few of them in. You won't lose that many lures after a while, but the coasts are fairly rocky, so there is a good chance that you lose some of them. So bring some extra for sure. Now, as some extra stuff, what I always tend to bring, plastic bags. Definitely bring plastic bags. If you do catch anything, you can just drop it in here. Squid, you know, tends to get really dirty everywhere, so definitely bring some plastic bags as well. On top of all of that, I also bring this little box. This is my magic bait fishing box. It comes with everything from small circle hooks. I have some elastic thread. This is to keep your bait on the hook. And I have hooks of every different size in here, realistically. So I have a bunch of hooks in here. It's full of them. I have beads in there. This is just a box with anything related to bait fishing. And then in terms of bait, you can use anything from live bait to sardines you can buy in the store. Squid works really well for everything. If you catch a squid, you could put it on live. Mussels work really well as well. There's worms, for example. There's a really good fishing store in Novigrad. If you're around there, you can go get worms there. You can call him up beforehand, send him a WhatsApp message to ask if he still has any. There's some good fishing stores in Rovinj as well. There's a really good fishing store in Rijeka. You know, just look for a tackle shop, send them a message, ask if they have any fresh bait, and most likely the answer will be yes. All right, now for lures, there's a few things I swear by. One of them is this little guy over here. I don't know if you can see that well. I have some more here, I'll show you. But this is the Kitech Shad Impact. This is a lure from Japan, really small lure. I pair them with these small sinkers as well. Hopefully you can see that well. This is a 2-inch version. They have them in different versions as well. I only have the 2-inch version and I only have them in this color. I am planning to buy a lot more of these different colors, different sizes. This will catch you anything. From like small little gobies to, I've got scarpina on this, I've got sea bass on this, I've got orada on this even, mackerel. This will catch you anything. Like small little lures like this, I love them personally because you never know what you're gonna get. On top of that, you know, you can bring any small lures. I have also noticed that little pink ones like this, for example, I bought these in Thailand. I have them in red and white as well. Haven't used these as much, but they work great as well. Same with, I just have a little box with a bunch of lures inside of them. These are lures that I used to mainly use for perch fishing, stuff like that, but they work, you know, really well. I personally, paddle tails like this bait, I used to have a few of these. They all got torn up by a bunch of fish. I have some little squids in here as well. This is literally an assortment of anything. I even have some like little river lobsters in there, or crawfish, or whatever you call them. This really works really well on like small fish. If you run out of options with anything else, I go to the small baits. On top of those small baits, you know, you do have the other small baits like these. These are everything from like little spoons, for example. I tend to use those as well. And I do have a box of like little spinners, etc. as well. I really like to use those as well. That's all of it on like the small side. You can bring a lot more small stuff, but that is mainly it for the small lures. Now, on top of that, one thing that is really, really big in Croatia, and this is really big in the winter. Personally, I don't know. I think squid is here all the time. But in winter, we fish for squid a lot because there's not a lot, you know, different stuff to fish on. So I have a big box of squid lures. Now, squid lures are really expensive. A lure like this, for example, let me just show you one. I have this one. This lure is, I think, about 12 euros. Now, for comparison, I have this little box of squid lures. These are all squid lures. They are a lot slower sinking. They are wooden, while I'm pretty sure these are more plasticky, you know, the weights are bigger, etc. These cost me, I think, 8 euros for the entire bag on Temu. So if you want to get some squid lures on Temu, I can recommend them. I've caught as many squid on the cheap ones. They work as well as any other squid lure. Colors, all of them work, really. I personally really like the white ones, and I really like the pink and orange ones. But realistically, all of them work. I just got more on the white and orange ones because I've thrown them more, but that's about it. All right, so we've gone over the most important things to bring, in my opinion, for the west coast of Istria, which is the small lures and the squid lures. However, if you're here in summer, there's a few things that you really need to bring. I have a bunch of these, and when I say a bunch, I mean a bunch. I haven't used them as much. I mainly use one of them because the colors don't matter as much. These are great for bluefish. These are lures that are really low diving, so they're almost topwater lures. Bluefish in summer, there are plenty, and they all swim or hunt low waters towards the evening. So small little bays, etc. Try to go there. Really good things for that is poppers. I have a really big popper here. Popper like this also works really well. I have, you know, a variety of poppers. There's so many poppers that you can use. All of these are, you know, good poppers. Some of these really expensive. Again, some of these are from Timi. I have a Rapala Walk the Dog, I'm pretty sure. So this is subsurface, let's say, but this is basically a surface lure as well. And then I also have this thing, the Surf Walker from Savage Gear. This thing is great as well. It has some great action in it. For a bluefish, this is great. What you want for bluefish, and that's the only downside of the Temu stuff, is you want to have good hooks because they do bite really aggressively. They can come loose very aggressively as well. So definitely if you get some of the Temu lures, maybe, you know, get some treble hooks and put new hooks on them. But that's for the bluefish fishing. That being said, though, all of these lures will also work for sea bass. You'll get less sea bass bites on them. The blue fishing in summer, though, is incredible. Definitely give that a try if you're here. All right, with that being said, before we get into some stuff that we can use in deeper water, etc., I'm going to go over some specific sea bass lures that I like and some specific mackerel lures as well. So, one thing, and this takes up no space, so definitely I would say, I don't know if you can see this, but bring a small sabiki rig. You can make this yourself. You could buy this. I think this is from Decathlon. Yeah, these are from Decathlon. I don't know, like €2, something like that. Get 1 or 2 of these. If you're on the pier in Rijeka, for example, stuff like this will do you wonders if you want to catch some mackerels. Definitely recommend those. On top of that, for sea bass in general, I do have this small wobbler. So you can bring something like that. But you know, what works best is any minnow bait like this. So I'm sure you have something like this in your tackle box. But stuff like this really works for sea bass. I tend to just carry around a little box like this. Few, you know, soft plastic lures, a few spoony lures. These were great for sea bass as well. Again, I'm showing you a lot of stuff here. You definitely don't need to bring all of this. At the end, we'll have a little recap on what you definitely want to bring to Croatia. And I'm just showing you everything you could bring if you have it. Now, last but not least, if you are, like I said, on the east coast of Istra, you might want to catch some bigger stuff. Deeper waters, you know, you can catch a lot of stuff there. You can try something like this. This is a big sea spinner. It's 30 grams, but you want to put this on a fairly big rod because this will move a lot in the water. So this is more for the surface because if you drop this down too low, it'll be a hell to retrieve. Stuff that works really well is stuff like this. I forgot the name of this specific lure. I think it's like Squid Tex or something. But you might have seen this before. This comes in different sizes. I definitely recommend getting something like this. You can fish really deep waters with this. It's really nice. Now, besides that, some really good stuff is spoons. Spoons like this. I'm sorry, my lures seem to be stuck in each other. You know, any spoon, anything long. These are on the smaller side. If you want to catch something in the deep, deep waters, I would recommend you even go for like any big, long, metal, shiny lure that's 60 to 80 grams, something like that. And you can really work it, you know, up and down, stuff like that. Move that in the water column. You will get some bites from some really cool fish, you know, the amberjacks and stuff like that. They're amazing to catch, the small tunies. So yeah, if you want to do stuff like that, definitely recommend it. I definitely recommend this lure. There is some other squid imitation lures. I got this, for example. To me, this looks great in the water. I've never caught anything on it. But, you know, if you have stuff like this, you can bring it. I have this from Temu as well, which is a squid lure, which honestly works like a charm. And then I have stuff like this. Never really caught anything on this, but you could troll with this, for example, etc. That's an option too. So, besides that, I do have this box, which is just a box of some metal lures and a bunch of soft plastics. You can fish with soft plastics anywhere, so I do recommend that. However, if you are on those deeper waters, I would recommend spoons, long spoons. I don't really have the lures to show you, but I'll put some on screen right now, which would be really good lures to use there. So, as a recap, the main things you need in Istria, and I didn't mention this yet, but a fishing license. I have a video linked right here. If you want to go get a fishing license, this will explain you how to get one. Secondly, you're going to need at least 1 to 2 rods. Figure out what do you want to catch, where are you going to be. If you're on the east coast of Istria, get some really heavy lures, etc. You can catch some big fish. If you're on the west coast of Istria, you can still do that. But if you want the bigger fish, I would target the bluefish, etc. Get some topwater lures, stuff like that. When it's really warm, they come out and play. It's amazing. Besides that, squid lures, always great. Definitely bring some squid lures. And then bring some smaller lures. You know, if the fish aren't biting, there is plenty of small fish in the sea over here in Istria, and they love to eat the small lures. So bring some small lures. It's a lot of fun. Either way, whenever you're coming to fish, I hope you guys enjoy it, and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.